Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart has been out for about a week and has seen generally favorable reviews from fans and critics. It also has become the most notorious release within the franchise. Ratchet and Clank, unlike Jak and Daxter, has survived many years after the PlayStation 2, and unlike Sly Cooper, has had a successful relaunch on the PS4 despite polarizing reception. Rift Apart does the series justice by providing the same fun platforming gameplay that fans know and love, but also introduces new heroes to the mix, Rivet and Kit. So let's explain what happened during this colorful adventure, and what the future may hold for Ratchet, Clank, Rivet, and Kit. The game opens up in a dystopian world where a resistance member is being chased by a robotic soldier called the Nefarious Trooper. The citizen is cornered but saved by a Lombax named Rivet, and gives the citizen her helmet to avoid detection. This unfortunately leaves Rivet exposed, and she runs into some troopers, forcing her to run. We then dart to Ratchet and Clank, who are being celebrated in a parade. Despite this, Ratchet feels the praise is unworthy, as he and Clank haven't done anything worth praise since the events of the PS4 game. During this, Captain Quark reveals Clank has a special gift for Ratchet, ruining the surprise, and we get a short summary of the first game before being attacked by Dr. Nefarious' goons. The heroes repel the attack, and Clank gives Ratchet a newly made Dimensionator so he can find his family. Ratchet is grateful but uneasy about the idea, and just then Dr. Nefarious steals the Dimensionator. When Nefarious is about to use it, Ratchet damages the device and causes dimensions to open randomly across the city. Ratchet and Clank fight their way to Nefarious, and he opens a new dimension to a universe where he always wins, causing massive ripples. Cornered in a new dimension, the Dimensionator blows up, separating Clank and Ratchet. Clank's arm is destroyed, and he has no way of contacting Ratchet due to his broken communicator, and is captured by Rivet. Nefarious, on the other hand, is thrown into a throne room to find he rules this world. The assistant calls Dr. Nefarious Emperor Nefarious, which is a clue of what's going to happen, and the doctor simply takes over without anyone thinking about it. Ratchet wakes up in the city and starts to search for Clank. Ratchet is mistaken by Mrs. Zircon to be a resistant member and sees Rivet leaving the planet with Clank. Mrs. Zircon tells Ratchet that the only way off planet is a royal spaceship, as any other ships will be instantly destroyed. Mrs. Zircon does point Ratchet in the right direction, telling him that he can find the Phantom, who will help him in trying to get off planet, and he's located inside Club Nefarious. Ratchet chases the Phantom, who turns out to be an alternate dimension Skid, but unlike the more laid-back Skid that we met in the previous game, this one is more serious and focused. Ratchet gives chase, and after aiding him in battle, gives him access to the Phantom Dash gadget, which allows him to bypass security gates put by Emperor Nefarious. He agrees to help Ratchet in exchange for helping him take down a blimp for propaganda purposes. Ratchet succeeds, and Skid tells him that the ship can be found in Emperor Nefarious' base, and provides him with a hacking tool called Glitch. He also tells him that Rivet can be found on a planet called Sargasso. The Phantom then purposely gets himself captured to take down Nefarious from the inside, and Ratchet fights his way into the palace, with Glitch taking on a sentient virus and showing it's more than just a program and wants to help Ratchet in any way it can. When inside, Ratchet steals a ship and heads to Sargasso, but not before giving Dr. Nefarious a good beating. We then dart to Rivet, who is summarizing Clank's entire situation, but she doesn't believe him, showing that Rivet, unlike Ratchet, has a strong distaste for robots in general. Rivet's friends alert her that they're under attack and crash land. Fighting her way through the swamp, Rivet sees that Dr. Nefarious' goons are threatening her friends, called Morts, and takes action, but still refuses to believe Clank. After saving her friends, the Morts inform her that some are stuck inside a glowing thing called a dimensional rift that is growing bigger, and a Seekerpede, which is a giant centipede robot, is wreaking havoc on the planet. Unable to head into the rift, Clank heads inside and volunteers to try and fix it. When inside, Clank finds that there's an all-seeing cosmic prophet named Gary, who tells him that the dimensional rift will destroy everything if not closed, and reveals that he knows everything about Clank, but he's also the son of the plumber. Remember the plumber from the first game? He's actually a very lovable character. Clank closes the rift and frees the other Morts, revealing they were unaware of the danger they were in, and just walk around like nothing happened. Rivet gives the Morts the part that she went to Nefarious City to get, allowing her to access a pirate den called Xerxes, but before then, we must get to our workshop to see if Clank is telling the truth. Once inside, Rivet analyzes Clank's memories to find out he was telling the truth, and Ratchet is a real Lombax. Rivet opens up to Clank and slightly reveals why she's distrustful of robots to Clank's sympathy, which surprises Rivet. Unfortunately, the spy bot Rivet used to decrypt Clank's memories sends a signal to the Seekerpede. It crashes through the wall and kidnaps Clank. Rivet gives chase and defeats the Seekerpede, which Clank is surprised that Rivet even came for him given her distaste for robots. The two form a bond and the Morts capture the Seekerpede for their own use. With Rivet's ship repaired, Rivet learns through the spy bot that the Emperor Nefarious knows of Rivet and her fellow Resistance members and issued a hit. Rivet decides to head to Xerxes to try and boost Clank's communicator to contact Ratchet. When heading to the Pirate Den Haven, Clank is depressed since everything that is happening is technically his fault. Despite it, Rivet tries to cheer him up, telling him that he'll soon be able to talk to Ratchet, which does give Clank a bit of hope. At Xerxes, we see that Mr. Zircon is a chill, positive robot instead of a murderous rampage killer. This is because in one of the spy bots, you can find out that Mr. Zircon, after killing so much, decided to destroy hunger, hence why Xerxes exists. Here we meet Pierre, the dimensional counterpart of Rusty Pete. He agrees to give Rivet the part in exchange for defeating his allies in battle, which he shouldn't have done because Rivet is extremely skilled in combat. After being successful and Clank contacts Ratchet due to the fixed communicator, Rivet is excited to meet another Lombax, but Ratchet remains focused and tells Clank and Rivet the plan about the Dimensionator. The goal is to build a new one, and Clank mentions Gary and Ratchet agrees to go meet him on Savali to find plans to build a new Dimensionator, while Rivet and Clank locate a power source called a phase quartz. Unknown to Rivet, Nefarious' assistant overheard everything and left to tell the Emperor, which she still doesn't notice is actually Dr. Nefarious. When leaving, we get a message from Dr. Nefarious where he issued an open bounty for both Ratchet and Rivet and has also adapted to his rulership quite well, being extremely happy and also issuing some sort of new currency from what I can tell. When on Savali, Ratchet meets with Gary and is informed that Nefarious' people are attacking, with Ratchet agreeing to help. Ratchet meets Clank's dimensional counterpart here, and Gary's apprentice. Unfortunately, the archive that houses the information to build the Dimensionator is walking away. Despite the apprentice's uneasiness to team up with Ratchet, the Lombax's charisma and attitude wins her over, allowing her to join Ratchet in this campaign. The apprentice reveals her name to be KT-7461, and along with Ratchet, frees the other monks who are captured by Nefarious. During the journey, Ratchet and KT bond, KT with asking Ratchet about the Lombaxes that lived in Savali, but Ratchet, having little knowledge about his people, is unable to help KT, and in turn, Ratchet tries to develop a bond by creating a nickname for KT similar to how he created one for Clank. With the help of the monks, Ratchet and KT make it to the archives and defeat Nefarious' robots, grabbing the plans but requiring a forge found on Kendro Station. It's here that KT decides on Kit for a nickname, but they are attacked again by Nefarious' people but are overwhelmed by the amount of robots. Despite Ratchet wanting to retreat, Kit wants to save the knowledge inside the archive, transforming it into a warbot form. Kit easily defeats Nefarious' soldiers, but due to her programming, almost attacks Ratchet, but snaps out of it right at the nick of time. Kit reveals that she was a soldier for Nefarious, but after attacking a resistance base, decided to go into exile. The monks welcomed her with open arms and she became Gary's apprentice. Despite knowing this, Ratchet reassures Kit, and thanks to his charm and charismatic nature, Kit agrees to join him on this adventure. While Ratchet was on Savali, Rivet and Clank were on Blizar Prime. Rivet expresses her excitement to use the Dimensionator to find other Lombaxes, but then finds that Prime has been destroyed. This is huge because this is the only place to get phase quartz, and they search the area to find a Blizon crystal that has been storing a ton of energy. Hidden it reveals a different Blizar Prime yet to be destroyed. Traveling between the two primes, Rivet and Clank learn what happened to her prime thanks to messages that survived during the explosion. The drill used to harvest the phase quartz blew up the planet, and unfortunately Rivet activates the same drill that is going to destroy the planet after learning this information. Rivet is able to stop the drill by blowing it up before it can destroy the planet using a Nefarious drop ship but at the same time blows up the phase quartz. Rivet, realizing that they can't use the drill again while risking the planet, remembers that there's some person named the Fixer on Torin 4 that can fix anything. Given they're desperate, they decide to follow this myth. When leaving, we get another message from Dr. Nefarious, who is desperate and increases the bounty to, a made out number. Just listen to this.
How could they if... I haven't even caught them yet, huh? You morons! Here. You want some truth? My Lombax bounty is now 27 squadrillion Nefarious. Just look at it all. So big, so real, so totally not made up. And it can all be yours when you catch those stupid Lombaxes!
It seems Dr. Nefarious will stop at nothing to catch us.
We better keep moving.
When on Torin 4, Rivet expresses interest in locating the Lombaxes, but Clank tells Rivet that Ratchet is afraid. Despite this, Rivet shows excitement that she wants to find more Lombaxes even if Ratchet does not. Eventually, they do find the Fixer, but he's been shut down thanks to pirates. The locals asked the Fixer to help them against the pirates, but it proved too much and he was shut down. Rivet and Clank fight against the pirates being led by Pierre and reactivates the Fixer. The Fixer begins to go on a massive rampage, seeing that he was unable to stop the pirates and has a crisis of faith, believing that everything he's done has been pointless and he can't fix anything. He even sees that Rivet and Clank have no arms and believe that they need to be fixed, and by fixed I mean destroyed. When faced with death, Clank improvises and is able to appeal to the Fixer, who was depressed after seeing so many broken things that he was unable to fix them. Clank re-energizes the Fixer's hope by telling him that he fixed both of them, and this gives him hope for the future, and in exchange, he decides to fix the phase quartz for them.
Quite relieved. When the Vullards asked me to protect them, it opened my eyes to a great many broken things. So very many.
And you became distressed.
But being able to fix another, to see that all is not lost. How can I ever repay you both?
Can you fix this? Thank you.
You just gave an old giant robot the gift of hope. It should be I who is thanking you.
Darting back to Ratchet, we see him opening up the Kit about the reason he doesn't want to find the Lombaxes, because he feels like a failure compared to their accomplishments. Kit does comfort Ratchet and they decide to focus on their primary goal to find the Rubion Forge. Using the same Blitzon crystal after being locked out of the station, they're able to travel to another dimension to find the station abandoned. Inside they find a lone robot called Junkbot who has become unhinged due to years of isolation. Ratchet travels deeper into the station to find a powerful creature Junkbot refers to as Juice, who he also has an unhealthy relationship due to his isolation, who's immune to all types of physical damage. Despite Juice and Junkbot living in relative peace, he avoids it and it won't cause him any harm, but Juice is actively hunting Ratchet for an unknown reason that we'll find out later. Using the crystal, Ratchet travels to another station to find a working forge. When inside, Kit cleverly tricks the Junkbot of this dimension into thinking they are interior decorators, and using Emperor Nefarious' name, they accept it while questioning out of fear. Despite Ratchet's mechanical expertise, he wrecks the forge using the wrong power source and shoots his way out using the crystal to escape back to his own dimension, or Rivet's dimension. Back at the forge, Ratchet uses glitch to unlock the forge's controls. With the doors unlocked, Ratchet travels deeper to restart the power, but is hunted actively by Jews, but uses sweet jellies in order to distract the creature. We learned through security footage that Juice was captured by Nefarious' troops despite Junkbot's pleas not to do it, and this is why the creature is actively hunting them. He was hurt, and now he sees Ratchet as one of those employees that hurt him. Heading outside, Ratchet travels through the seafloor, where Kid reassures Ratchet that the Lombaxes would be proud of him even if he doesn't believe in himself, stating how he believed in her back on Savali, and now she will believe in him right now. Heading to the other dimension, it's revealed that Juice was being used as a power source for the Rubion Forge in this area, but in the original dimension with the abandoned station, Juice broke out and started killing everyone. That's why Ratchet again is being hunted. It thinks that Ratchet was one of the original employees. Ratchet and Kit free Juice from this dimension and uses the crystal to travel back to the other dimension with Juice's help. Juice then befriends his dimensional counterpart and helps Ratchet by powering the Rubion Forge. Kit then uses it along with the blueprints to forge a new Dimensionator. With everyone finished with what they're doing, Rivet and Clank head to Xerxes to meet with Ratchet, which Rivet is nervous about meeting. Everyone instantly hits it off, with Rivet still being distant when it comes to robots, but opens up to Kit. The heroes are ambushed by Dr. Nefarious, who grabs the Dimensionator. Rivet and Kit decide to take on Nefarious with Ratchet's blessing, while Ratchet and Clank take down his soldiers and hold them off. This fight spans multiple worlds before Rivet takes him down, and things are looking up until Ratchet and Clank come flying in defeated. Turns out Emperor Nefarious showed up and took down the heroes with ease, showing that he is much more powerful than Dr. Nefarious. Emperor Nefarious takes his counterpart and leaves after causing some chaos and killing a bunch of innocent people with the Dimensionator, and seeks to destroy Sargasso in order to finally crush the Resistance and Rivet. However, the last rebel, Captain Quantum, is still in danger. Ratchet and Clank head to Aldorus to find Pierre, while Rivet and Kit head to Sargasso. On Aldorus, Ratchet and Clank notice there are more portals, and when landing, learn that Pierre is about to be executed. The group fight their way through the pirates, and Ratchet opens up to Clank about finally finding his people, realizing that his fears is holding him back, and after meeting Kit and Rivet, can't allow his fears to hold him back, especially since Clank has always been by his side. Ratchet and Clank save Pierre, who tells him that Quantum is beyond Skull Mountain and the pirate trials. Ratchet takes on the pirate trials under the name of... what? I'm not joking. Look at this. Ratchet successfully completes the trials, and turns out Captain Quantum is Captain Quark's counterpart. He placed a bug on Emperor Nefarious that allows him to stay 2 steps ahead of the Emperor using a bucket helm. Unfortunately, Quantum disguised himself as a robot to hide among the pirates, and when it's destroyed, they think he killed their leader, causing them to attack. Ratchet agrees to defend Quantum in exchange for the helmet.
Murderer! No, it's me! It be me, Quantum, see?
Ye will pay for defiling our captain's head like that, both of ye.
After the fight and, a close encounters with the Kraken called Bubbles, I mean, it's pretty much a tribute to Pirates of the Caribbean, and it's a pretty cool scene. After the fight, Quantum makes good on his deal and gives Ratchet the helmet, but he asks about the other Quark, who he is shocked to learn that is a hero. Ratchet tells him that despite his failures and shortcomings, Quark always tries to do the right thing, and this inspires Quantum to quit being a pirate, but then Dr. Nefarious and Emperor Nefarious show up with an open portal. Quantum performs his first act of heroics and saves Ratchet and Clank from the portal.
What are you doing? Hero stuff!
Heading to Sargasso, Kid and Rivet lament on Ratchet and Clank's partnership, but realize they are loners, deciding their partnership is only temporary, given Rivet's fear of robot, and Kid unable to accept her warbot heritage and losing control whenever she transforms. When on the planet, Rivet and Kit try to repel Nefarious' troops, and Kit is able to close a dimensional rift, with Kit opening up to being part of a team and finding companionship with Ratchet and Clank. However, suddenly Kit drops that her and Rivet are destined to be together, similar to Ratchet and Clank, to which Gary questions it, not because of being a dimensional counterpart, but more like that her and Rivet need to make that choice on their own instead of just being forced upon this decision. With the dimensional rift closed, the Morts use the Seeker P to fight against Nefarious' forces, while Rivet uses Trudy, the dragon, which you can complete an optional side mission with, to destroy Nefarious' ships. Emperor Nefarious appears and transports Rivet and Kit to a pocket dimension instead of the prison, unaware that she can get out of these. It's during this one-on-one time with Kit that she reveals her negative attitudes towards robots stems from her losing her arm during a Nefarious warbot attack. It turns out that it was Kit who attacked Rivet, and Kit realizing this tries to tell her but decides to go against it for now. While leaving Sargasso, we get a cutscene with Emperor Nefarious believing he wiped out the Resistance but feeling unfulfilled. Dr. Nefarious diagnoses that the Emperor has achieved success, and since he has no other reason to be happy, he simply falls into depression. Emperor Nefarious refutes this and assumes that he just has to conquer all the dimensions to be happy, but requires a dimensional map. Realizing that he'll go to Savali for the map, Ratchet and Clank head there. When on Savali, they see that Nefarious beat them there. Worse is that due to using the Dimensionator so much, has broken the barriers between universes and is causing the literal dead to rise up. Rivet and Kit make it to Savali and decide to intercept Nefarious' flagship to grab the map. When inside, they learn that the Nefariouses don't have the map, but they find Gary, who the Nefariouses kidnapped, to try and get the map location from. Gary tells Ratchet and Clank of the location, and they head underground. It's also here you could finish off the sentient virus with Glitch, a virus born from the dimensional crossing over. It's a side mission, and its only purpose is to complete side content such as collecting the gold bolts. Ratchet and Clank defeat the hordes of bone undead creatures, and Clank closes the last rift, learning how to stop the cataclysm in the process and collecting the map. Unfortunately, Doctor and Emperor Nefarious made it to their position, captured Ratchet, forcing Clank to give up the map, and sent them to Zordoom prison. Kit and Rivet make it to their location but cannot hope to defeat them, with Kit deciding to transform and reveal to Rivet that she was the warbot that eventually destroyed her arm. It's during this section that we find out that Emperor Nefarious is actually afraid of Kit. It's only because of Dr. Nefarious that he saves the Emperor, who's quaking in fear. It's a bit strange, and if you're hoping this to be answered later on, it actually isn't. Which sucks, because it would have been a terrific side point to see that Kit is actually more powerful than the Emperor, but unfortunately we'll never get context to this, maybe in the next game. Rivet now alone stages a rescue operation for everyone, heading to Zordoom prison, which is led by Nefarious' assistant. When inside, Rivet saves Clank from being scrapped and the rest of the Resistance, with former Resistance mercenaries working for Doctor and Emperor Nefarious joining Rivet and the cause. Rivet fights her way to Ratchet and Kit, with Kit still unable to face Rivet. During the final chase to free Ratchet and Kit, Rivet is exposed to laughing gas and reveals she's annoyed with Kit lying to her and thought she was her friend. Despite this, Rivet wants to save her and Ratchet, fighting off dozens of Nefarious' soldiers, with the assistant quitting after failing to stop her when Emperor Nefarious assumedly fires her for failing to do so. Skid brings Rivet's ship after freeing the rest of the Resistance, and Ratchet and Clank give Rivet and Kit some alone time. Rivet rips into Kit about hurting her and not telling her the truth, to which Kit defaults to her being broken because she can't control herself in her warbot form. Rivet, annoyed, walks away from Kit, and Kit returns to Savali, with Rivet annoyed at Kit believing that she's just running away instead of facing her problems, when in reality she just doesn't want to lose control and hurt her friends, but Rivet is being extremely hostile to Kit because of her own default fears towards robots, especially since Kit was the reason that she lost her arm. Back at Xerxes, Ratchet and Rivet fight, realizing they have their own fears to overcome. Ratchet with meeting his people and believing that he won't measure up to them, and Rivet with robots in general. The two do make up and realize that they have to deal with their own issues instead of just voicing them to one another and realizing their own shortcomings. Quantum discusses a plan to lure out the Emperor by disguising himself as a robot. It's basically the same plan from the final mission of the PS4 game if you played that game or saw the movie. Don't watch the movie, it's really bad. Instead, play the game if you can get it at a discount, or you got it free through the Play at Home initiative that Sony had. A transmission then comes to Xerxes that turns out we learn the Emperor is planning to invade Ratchet and Clank's home with an army. This is likely to just try and coax Ratchet and Rivet into fighting him. The Resistance, refusing to let another dimension fall to the Emperor, decides to help Ratchet immediately and decide to stage an attack against the Emperor. Back at home, the Galactic Rangers have engaged Emperor Nefarious in combat. After fighting through the hordes of robots, Emperor Nefarious unleashes his most powerful robot, an Imperial suit. Rivet leads the first attack with the help of Quantum, Pierre, and Quark to do massive damage. Ratchet then leads the second assault, weakening the outer shell, and thanks to the monks of Savali, gets inside the suit and destroys the heart. With the suit destroyed, Ratchet and Clank are MIA due to the massive explosion, and Rivet is all that stands between the Emperor and destroying this dimension, who calls an army with hundreds of portals, which will destroy all dimensions if not closed. Just then, Kit shows up in her warbot form, fully control of what she's doing, accepting who she is and taking full control of her destiny, refusing to run, and she aids Kit in battle. Kit holds off Nefarious' army while Rivet takes down the Emperor. The Emperor calls on all his forces, but eventually there is simply no one left, allowing Rivet to inflict the final blow and drop the Dimensionator, which Ratchet uses to open a portal to Aldoris. Using the bell, they call on Bubbles, the Kraken, who's able to drag the Emperor down, but Dr. Nefarious shows up. The Emperor, believing that he's here to help, begs him for assistance, but the Doctor simply kicks his counterpart down the hole after he's been abusing him this entire time, taking his revenge, but at the same time getting crushed by the remains of the Imperial suit. It's not clear if he's dead, but I'm pretty sure he's still alive. His body's probably just immobile right now. We then see a short closing statement between Ratchet, Rivet, Clank, and Kit, who enjoyed the spoils of their victory, stopping the Emperor and saving all the dimensions. It's during the closing credits that Clank fixes the portals, and Rivet and Kit forgive one another, becoming partners through a natural relationship instead of Kit assuming just because they're dimensional counterparts to Ratchet and Clank that they were destined to be together. This is a much more strong bond, similar to how Ratchet and Clank forged their bonds, through mutual respect for one another. We also get to see that Clank gets a new arm that matches Rivet's arm. Rivet's dimension is removing all traces of the Emperor. We also get a glimpse of Lawrence and Nefarious. For those who don't know, Lawrence and Nefarious were, well, I wouldn't say they were partners, but Lawrence was his loyal servant and butler in the original games. But here we see that he has a wife and a kid, showing that they're taking a different direction with Lawrence. Also, apparently robots can have kids in this universe. I don't know if that was true in the original game, but whatever. Trudy is now a mother, as we do learn that she was pregnant in the core game if you beat her side mission. The plumber is with his son Gary, showing off photos, showcasing what was in that book that he was looking through. It was a photo album showing off all the adventures within the various dimensions. The Phantom and Mrs. Zircon are hunting Nefarious' assistants, and Rivet is helping rebuild Savali, with the Fixer also trying to repair Blizar Prime after its destruction. So what does the next Ratchet and Clank game have in store for us? Well, if you complete the side mission for the Lombax Shrines, they do offer a lot of insight into the Lombaxes, and it seems that will be the focus of the next game. And those who played the original, or know how to use Google, will figure out that some of these names match the original game, and despite them taking different directions with some of these characters, such as Dr. Nefarious having an incredible hatred for organics to the point that it's kind of racist the way he talks, but in this game it's a lot less, I guess, present. And also with Ratchet's personality, where he's much more heroic, whereas in the original game he was a bit of a jock and a jerk that complemented Clank's naive yet heroic attitude. Either way, I digress. A researcher named Mags was charged with cataloging all the dimensions. At first he thought this was just simply for research, even finding a Jak and Daxter and Sly Cooper world, but it wasn't. Apparently the true intention was to find a dimension to hide all the Lombaxes for an unknown reason. The reason was for him to map out a certain area where the Lombaxes would be able to get to this location safely, and well, he found it. This is likely what the next game will focus on, why the Lombaxes hid and who they were hiding from.
I found out why Caden has been so stressed lately. Something bad's going on. Bad enough that we need to hide as many Lombaxes as we can, and I guess all of my mapping work was to help find the perfect dimension for us to hide in, so yeah. I hope I didn't screw anything up.
In the original game, it was because of a Climite named Tachyon, who was raised by the Lombaxes after his people were defeated by the Lombaxes. He took revenge against them once he learned the truth behind his heritage, and the Lombaxes used a Dimensionator to return to their home and hide from Tachyon, who was actively killing them. But here, they make no mention of that, and Mags, who is a newcomer to the series, at least from what I can tell, I can't find any information about him, or maybe I missed something, seems unaware of why they needed to hide. If Tachyon was present in this universe, he would be making note of that they're being killed, that they're being attacked, something, but again, makes no mention of this. Instead, it seems that the Lombaxes are well loved right now. He also makes mention of Caden, who was the keeper of the Dimensionator in the first game, the first set of games I mean, and is Ratchet's father for those who don't know, who Ratchet makes mention of in Rift Apart of doing his best to keep it from dangerous people, but he didn't know him or meet him. He just knew that his father existed and kept the Dimensionator away from people like Nefarious, who wanted it for their own reasons and would, destroy the dimensions if overused. Insomniac could be itching to bring back Tachyon in a different light, or that the Lombaxes were the actual bad guys who were fleeing after the natives had enough of them. Now, I know that seems like a stretch, but hear me out here. The reason I say this is because the way the statues are designed, I know that seems like a long shot, but look at the way they're designed. They look almost sinister, and it's likely these were created by the Lombaxes, but why would they design them to look like tyrants instead of benevolent creatures who are loved by everyone? I mean, if you look at the way the Lombax stat shrines look like compared to how Nefarious's graphic image looks, there's kind of a side-by-side comparison. Granted, Nefarious came way after the Lombaxes, but it just showcases this type of nefarious and very tyrannical look with, maybe they're trying to take a different direction. I would actually like that. With Ratchet and Rivet learning that their people were actually monsters who were forgotten over time and then believed to be these benevolent creatures, but in reality were horrible monsters, similar to the Protheans in Mass Effect. The Protheans were seen as these type of advanced and very civil people, but then when you meet Javik for the first time, you realize they were actually tyrants who enslaved any lesser species, and anyone who tried and challenged them were completely eradicated. They even had an hidden history of messing with the Asari to the point that all of the Asari owe their entire superiority to the Protheans. Maybe they'll do something like that here. To me, that would be very interesting, where Ratchet and Rivet find the Lombaxes, and maybe Kid finds out their hidden history through some sort of closed door or hidden terminal, and then she tries to tell Rivet and Ratchet, but only Ratchet and Clank believe her, but Rivet does not, and then it just brings up that hatred for robots that she has and says that robots are all the same. I knew it. I should be with my people. I mean, I think that would be really cool, like a dynamic shift between the characters, and they just go in this type of personal dilemma with the overextended Lombaxes. But that's just my opinion. I mean, it just seems very strange that these shrines all look so, tyrannical and sinister in their design. I mean, personally, I would love it because it would play to the risks they put with the first Ratchet and Clank game with Ratchet's attitude and everything. But that's just my opinion. Take a risk, be more mature about these things, and maybe it might pay off. Either way, what are your opinions about the next Ratchet and Clank game? What did you think about Rift Apart? Can you even get a PlayStation 5? Because scalpers are making this a nightmare, and yeah, fuck scalpers. This is probably gonna get demonetized because I said that word, but whatever. I loved Ratchet and Clank. You can find my walkthrough below, including the PS4 game. Check out my other videos. I'm doing a bunch of Mass Effect content. I stream every day, either 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can join my channel if you want to support me directly. Follow me on Twitch, and that's enough shameless plug-in. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Goodness, we were so worried.
Can't stop us that easily.
What took you all so long? Hey, I think I know how we can find the Emperor. When you're ready to take the fight to him, come talk to me.